on my Twitter. 12 reasons not to vote for Nikki Haley. These are instances in which she is playing the game that the left wants you to play, and I think that's the big, that's the killing factor in her. Like that whole popular vote argument, you're playing the left's game, and you can't win. You cannot win that game. So, number one, Nikki Haley fell for the Bubba Wallace hate hoax. She did. We should all stand with Bubba Wallace today against the cowards who secretly put the noose in his garage stall.
Yeah. Keep going. Read
Number
fast.
two,
I like it.
Nikki Haley opposes combating big tech censorship. On June 25th, 2020, Nikki Haley, censorship by tech companies, especially censorship of conservative opinions, violates the spirit of the law and the First Amendment, but more regulation would go too far in the other direction, putting bureaucrats and lawyers in control of what gets said online. We're past this. You can't talk like you have to rein in the big tech. Nikki Haley, number three, mass immigration, quote unquote, makes us great. That sounds like something she'd say. It's also wrong. Selective immigration can make us better, but mass immigration does not make us great. Number four, Nikki Haley removed the Confederate flag from South Carolina State Capitol after the 2015 Charleston church shooting. Now, this is the big one, and it's the one people are going to remember the most, and it's the one that I first thought of. And maybe you can make an argument. I don't like the Confederate flag. You never bend to the mob. Ever.
All right.
Ever.
I'll give you my opinion on that here soon. Keep going.
Her decision, this is a continuation. Her decision can easily be seen as the first monument removal that sparked the entire movement. This has led to many more statues and monuments of Confederate generals, Teddy Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, and even George Washington being removed. Number five, Nikki Haley is ripped apart by Tucker Carlson for tweeting that the death of George Floyd, quote unquote, needs to be personal and painful for everyone in order to heal. Nikki Haley, number six, fondly credits Hillary Clinton with her decision to run for office. There is a source there on the tweet. Nikki Haley, number seven, lets media off the hook after the Smollett hoax. The media, quote, the media should be the most outraged. Number eight, Nikki Haley told young conservatives to not, quote unquote, own the libs online. Number nine, Nikki Haley said in April 2021 she would not run for president in 2024 and would support Trump. I don't care as much about that. Everybody in 2021 was saying they wouldn't run.
That's fine.
Number 10, Nikki Haley wants to risk outright war with North Korea. This is a big league politics article. Apparently she had something to say during her time at the UN on North Korea. Enough is enough. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that she's a pretty war hawkish. Number 11, Nikki Haley has a record of pushing for war with Iran. That also seems possible. And finally, number 12, what I already mentioned, Nikki Haley launches her campaign, her campaign merch that says, quote unquote, sometimes it takes a woman.
All right, so I'm gonna break down some of those. It takes a woman is nonsense. It takes competence. That's just what it is. I will say some of those seem scantily sourced. You know, she credits Hillary Clinton. Well, that very well just may somebody have been asking, were you inspired by Hillary Clinton running for president? And her saying, yeah, she was the first major.
Some of them are not as big. Some of them are not as concerning as the others. Yes, I agree with that.
And now I'm going to step on a lot of people's toes. The Confederate flag should have been removed from South Carolina. I don't care if it's the mob that asked for it. It should have been removed from Capitol grounds. All right, so let's give a little history here. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union. Do you remember what the second state to secede from the Union was?
Was it us?
Mississippi. Yeah, it was us. So you just had someone go in and kill people on a Wednesday night prayer meeting, 9 parishioners of a church. And his social media was filled with guns in front of a Confederate flag. One, the Confederate flag should not be flying on anywhere but a museum. and this is coming from somebody who, let's just say, I understand Civil War history.
Sure.
I appreciate my heritage. I even wore the shirts growing up that said "Heritage over Hate." Like I understand every single argument that anyone's going to have. Jeff and I are both from Vicksburg, arguably the first or the second most famous battle in the Civil War history. Like we know our history. We know
Right.
the Confederacy. We know everything. I'm also an American. I'm an American first, above all else. And the Confederate States of America, whether you agree they had the right to succeed or not, they did succeed. They were their own country. It was not the United States. Therefore, a sovereign flag should never fly over a capital in the United States. Period. The problem that people have clearly is that it was taken down at the behest of the mob, right? Maybe it wasn't, maybe it wasn't the mob. Maybe it was going, you know what? You had this guy just kill 9 parishioners of a church on a Wednesday night prayer meeting. He had Confederate flags all over the place. Maybe this is the first start in healing a state that is about to be ripped apart with racist ideology. That's how I read that situation. The rest of the stuff, like the Bubba Wallace thing, I never said a word because it seemed completely unbelievable from the beginning. And we don't need someone that's gullible in the office of the presidency. And if she's that gullible to believe the Jesse Smollett stuff and to believe the Bubba Wallace stuff, yeah, she has no business being president. Like anybody, whenever those stories came out, they should have went,
Right.
no, let me wait and see. And it seems like she is so apt to be anti-racist, right? We're not racist. I'm in South Carolina. I'm from deep South. We're not racist at all. That she jumps on any of these bandwagons to prove
That's just what I said. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's just like what I said. The next candidate for the Republican presidential nomination should not play this game.
Yeah,
stop caring.
I completely agree.
Stop caring if you get called a racist. Stop caring if you get called a homophobe, a transphobe. You have to disassociate yourself from those, like just immunize yourself from those labels, because they are going to come and they are going to be vicious. And
yeah, I mean, look at what happened to Donald Trump. Donald Trump won awards from the NAACP. Like the man was celebrated by African Americans across the country. He was in how many rap videos? How many rap songs were made about Donald Trump the minute he declared to be the Republican candidate? Oh, he's a racist.
Yeah.
He said, you know what? You want to punch me in the face? I'm gonna knock your head off. I'm gonna take your head off. If that's the way we're gonna play this game, I'm gonna take your head off. And that's what it takes nowadays.
What people don't understand about this game is that the left owns those definitions.
Yeah.
You can't
play the game.
You can never color the left as racist because they own the definition of racist. They get to decide what racist means. It's not fair, but society never is. You just simply stop playing the game. And they have tricked every wishy-washy establishment Republican to come out of the noughts and the teens to play this game. And it's so frustrating how often they lose because of this. You're never going to convince them that you're not racist, not homophobic. They may not even believe it anyway, but arguing the point is a waste of time. And her response to these things, we can set aside the Confederate flag. I understand your point. I agree with your point. I don't think that in the wake of tragedy is the time to make that kind of decision, but I don't disagree with the point itself. I don't agree in doing anything the left is demanding you do at that time anyway, period.
Yeah,
don't do it.
I knew that was your
right
point.
At another time or not. But her response to things like the Bubba Wallace hoax, like the George Floyd death, like the Jussie Smollett case, where she said, and obviously she doesn't have any sympathy for Jussie Smollett, but she has sympathy for the media for getting hoodwinked. No, the media manufactured that story. Like she plays the politics. I don't know what her real beliefs are, but there is no difference between her on these points and any wishy-washy establishment Republican in Congress right now. And
I think that's a fair point. I do.